Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you right now. I'm Gordon Bizar, CEO of National Diversified Funding Corporation. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how, with relatively limited resources, you can step into the ownership of a thriving mid-market company, the kind producing 7 to 8 figures in cash flow while creating generational wealth for you and your family. That's what this presentation is all about. It's about your escape from the middle class with massive cash flow, true generational wealth, and the power and prestige of being very rich. That's my promise if you stay till the end. And let me be upfront with you right at the start. Yes, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to make you an offer. The substance behind this offer is unlike anything else you've ever seen. It's rare, it's unusual, it's life-changing. And it's exactly why you want to hear me out to the very end. So my ask is simple. Stay with me, embrace this eye-opening content, and then see for yourself why the offer at the end might just be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Most hardworking people are living in what I call the golden hamster wheel. It looks shiny, good job, steady income, a retirement account, but it just spins in place. You've been told the formula: work hard, save diligently, invest in the stock market, and someday you'll retire comfortably. But here's the problem. The formula is a rigged game. It demands that you give up lifestyle today, gamble on markets you don't control, and then wait 30 years hoping it all works out. That's not freedom. That's a sentence in a middle-class prison. And you already know what it feels like inside that prison. Frustration, because you followed the rules, but you're still not free. Anxiety, because retirement seems to drift further out, like a boat moving away from the shore. Envy, when you see colleagues announcing bold moves or selling their businesses for life-changing money. And resentment, because the advisors, the bankers, the fund managers, and the gurus all seem to get rich while you keep grinding. It's like being in a race where you're running as hard as you can, but somehow the finish line keeps moving further away. Now imagine something different. Imagine instead of running, you're given the keys to a vehicle that's already moving, a thriving mid-market company. From day one, it generates 7 to 8 figures in cash flow. That cash flow fuels your lifestyle now, not 30 years from now. And at the same time, it's building generational wealth that secures your family's future long after you're gone. Instead of waiting decades, you step into the driver's seat immediately with time choice and freedom finally in your control. That's the path we're opening for you today. The truth is, business ownership is the only strategy that checks every box. But not just any business. Owning a small business is often nothing more than buying yourself another job. You're the hardest working employee, carrying all the stress. Owning a giant corporation? That's stability, but stability with limited growth. It's like steering an aircraft carrier that can barely turn. The sweet spot is the mid-market company. Large enough to be stable, yet still nimble enough to capture exponential growth. It's the sports car of wealth creation, powerful, fast, and built to maneuver. Now you may be thinking, I've never thought about owning a business, never mind a mid-market company. But that's exactly why this works, because this isn't about buying yourself a job. This is acquiring a self-managing asset. A mid-market company already has professional management, established customers, and systems in place. And unlike real estate, which is locked in a single plot of land, a business can expand anywhere, follow markets as they migrate, and scale without limits. Think about this. Have you ever seen a fully rented commercial building triple its net income in a year? Of course not. But I can show you mid-market companies that have done exactly that. Some with bold marketing campaigns, some by acquiring competitors, some by adding technology to sales and operations. Real estate is a box of walls. A business is an engine. One is fixed, the other is alive. Now, if you're tracking with me, you may already be thinking, wait a minute, are you really saying that I could buy a company worth tens of millions of dollars? That doesn't sound credible. And you know what? That's a fair thought. So here's what I'd ask. Suspend your skepticism for just a few minutes, because before this webinar is over, I'm going to show you exactly how we've been doing this for the past 55 years and how we've created a system that makes it possible for someone just like you. Once you see it, it will change the way you think about wealth forever. And this is where NDFC and our partners in business acquisition system, PIBA Gold, come in. We've built a done-for-you acquisition system. That means you don't need expertise, you don't need connections, you don't need millions in capital, and you don't need decades of time. We bring the team, the financing, the structures, the strategies. All you bring is the commitment to step into ownership. That's why PIBA Gold exists, to make mid-market business ownership not only possible, but practical. Not someday, not after 30 years of saving, right now. Here's where everything changes. For decades, you've been taught the middle-class formula. Save, invest, and hope. It's like planting a tree and then standing there for 30 years hoping it grows tall enough to shade you in retirement. But the wealthy? They don't stand around waiting for a tree to grow. They buy the whole orchard, already standing. The wealthy's formula is simple. Acquire cash-flowing businesses and let those businesses multiply wealth in years, not decades. This is the paradigm shift. Wealth isn't created by waiting, it's created by owning. Let me show you why business acquisition is so powerful. First, you step into immediate cash flow. Imagine buying a house that already has tenants paying rent on day one. That's what acquisition is like, except instead of hundreds or thousands a month, it's multi-millions a year. Second, you inherit a proven history. Customers, contracts, systems, managers, already in place. You're not starting from zero. Third, you scale without reinventing the wheel. It's like stepping into a car, already moving 60 miles an hour and hitting the accelerator instead of building the car from scratch in your garage. And finally, the real rocket fuel, strategic aggregation. When you start combining businesses into an ecosystem, the value multiplies. 1 + 1 suddenly equals 5. And that's how ordinary companies become extraordinary wealth machines. Step 1 is finding the right company. Not every business qualifies. We're looking for companies with predictable income streams, steady customers, and recurring revenues. Industries that are fragmented, lots of small players that can be rolled up, and businesses positioned for growth with strong bones and room to run. It's like choosing the right seed, the soil, the climate, the potential. It all matters if you want the orchard to thrive. Step 2 is where people usually say, okay, Gordon, this sounds amazing, but how do I buy a company worth tens of millions without being a billionaire myself? And that's the beauty of what we do. We've been structuring acquisitions for 55 years using creative financing. Seller rollovers, earnouts, asset-based loans, external investors. The tools are endless when you know how to use them. It's like building a bridge across a canyon. Alone, it looks impossible. But with the right materials and a team that's done it 100 times, it's just another project. We don't ask you to bring millions of dollars. We ask you to bring commitment. We bring the financing and the structure. Step 3 is where the magic really happens. Strategic aggregation. Imagine you own one successful restaurant. It makes money, but it's limited by location. Now imagine owning 10 restaurants in the same city, sharing the same supply chain, cross-promoting customers, running centralized marketing. Suddenly, you're not 10 times bigger, you're exponentially bigger, exponentially more profitable. That's what strategic aggregation does. It's acquiring competitors, cross-marketing products, cutting costs through shared resources, and transforming valuation multiples from 4 to 7 times earnings to 12 to 20 times earnings. This is how fortunes are built. Now you might be thinking, but Gordon, isn't rapid growth risky? And normally you'd be right. But strategic aggregation flips that on its head. Each business in the ecosystem continues operating normally, serving its customers, running its processes. We don't tear things down. We add a cross-marketing engine that costs almost nothing, yet lowers the cost per sale while boosting revenues. Margins rise at the same time sales rise. Add in purchasing power, volume efficiencies, streamlined distribution. Suddenly your ecosystem becomes safer the bigger it gets. And here's the kicker. When markets decline, the companies with the best marketing machines don't just survive, they thrive. They buy up struggling competitors at bargain prices, consolidating operations for bigger profits. Strategic aggregation is one of the few growth models where more growth equals less risk. That's why it's different. That's why it's safer. Let me show you how this looks in real life. We've taken companies worth $25 million within 3 years, repositioning them as $100 million businesses. Not by magic. by systematically acquiring competitors, rolling them into an ecosystem, and multiplying valuation. Think of it like Lego blocks. One block is valuable, but snap it together with 9 others, and suddenly you've built a fortress worth many times more than the pieces on their own. That's the multiplication effect of strategic aggregation. Now let's make this personal. Your life today probably looks something like this. You wake up stressed about bills, check your retirement account, and sigh at the slow growth. Grind through the endless work, and collapse at night, still worried about the future. Now picture this. You wake up to deposits from a thriving company you own. You make ownership-level decisions with a professional management team. Then spend your afternoon with your kids, your spouse, or doing something you love. One path leaves you worn down, watching the years slip by. The other creates freedom, legacy, and pride. That's the transformation PIBA Gold makes possible. And I don't expect you to just take my word for it. NDFC has been doing this for 55 years. We've trained, coached, and guided thousands. We've structured billions in acquisitions. We're not theorizing. We've been proving this model for decades. And now, for the first time, PIBA Gold packaged this system so you can benefit directly. By now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, Gordon, but why would you do this with me? And the answer is simple. Because together, we can do far more than we can alone. Your commitment covers the process expenses, the underwriting, due diligence, structuring, which lets us complete more deals. And since NDFC takes an equity position in every deal, every company we acquire with you is another mid-market business in our ecosystem that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Here's the bigger truth. For strategic aggregation to work at full power, we need critical mass. The more companies in the ecosystem, the faster aggregation multiplies wealth. That's why PIBA Gold exists. It allows us to scale faster, achieve critical mass, and trigger exponential wealth creation for you, for us, for everyone involved. This isn't us doing something for you. This is us doing something with you, and together the results are unstoppable. Let's pause for just a moment and take stock of what you've discovered so far. You've seen why the middle-class formula, work, save, invest, wait, is a trap designed to keep you stuck. You've learned why mid-market acquisitions succeed where every other path to wealth falls short. You've discovered how NDFC structures deals so you don't need millions in capital or decades of trial and error. And you've seen why PIBA Gold isn't just about helping you, it's about creating shared wins, where together we scale faster, trigger strategic aggregation, and multiply wealth for everyone involved. That's a lot of ground covered, but it all points to one thing. The traditional way keeps you stuck. The NDFC way sets you free. So let me ask you, doesn't this make sense? Doesn't it seem clear that this is faster than saving and investing your way to retirement? That it's safer than chasing some get-rich-quick scheme? That it's more powerful than real estate because it can scale without limits? And doesn't it make sense that with 55 years of proven results, NDFC is the one organization that can actually make this happen for you? And if you're nodding or smiling right now, it's because you recognize this is the shift you've been waiting for. And remember, I promised at the very beginning that I'd share an offer with you. We're almost there. Now, at this point, you might think you have two choices. Choice one, try to go it alone. Spend years studying, hoping, risking, and maybe, just maybe, piece together one deal. But here's the reality. You cannot do this alone. Not this. Not mid-market acquisitions. Not strategic aggregation. It has to be done at scale, and scale requires partnership. Even NDFC is smart enough not to do it alone. We partner because that's what makes this model work. Partnering is to business success in the 21st century what mass production was to the industrial age, the breakthrough that changes everything. Choice two, partner with us through PIBA Gold. That means stepping into a done-for-you acquisition system where we find the deals, structure the financing, build the ecosystem, and grow the company with you as the owner. It's not really two choices at all. One path is closed, the other is open, and PIBA Gold is the open path. And in just a moment, I'll show you the offer I promised at the very beginning. The way you can harness this system for yourself to create massive cash flow, unprecedented growth, and true generational wealth. So here's what PIBA Gold really is. It's not a course. It's not coaching. It's not a side hustle. It's a done-for-you acquisition system. Through PIBA Gold, you step directly into ownership of a thriving mid-market company. You don't need expertise. You don't need connection. You don't need to come from a privileged family. You don't need millions in capital, and you don't need to wait 30 years. You also don't need to sign away your life with a personal guarantee. And here's the breakthrough. In the traditional world, people spend decades climbing to the top, clawing, politicking, socializing, and yes, a whole lot of butt kissing. Everyone in corporate America knows that game. With PIBA Gold, there is no climbing. You don't claw your way up. You simply enter at the top. You drop straight into the owner's seat. No politics, no games, no groveling required. We bring the professional team, the financing, the deal structures, and the ecosystem. All you bring is the commitment. PIBA Gold is your ticket out of the middle-class treadmill and into the owner's seat where cash flow, control, and generational wealth are no longer distant dreams. They're your new reality. Let's talk about value. If you tried to do this the traditional way, here's what it would take. You'd spend years, maybe decades, getting an MBA, working your way through management roles, building connections, and saving millions in capital. You'd invest $500,000 just in education and lost time. You'd be starting from scratch with no guarantees. Or maybe you try to buy a business on your own. That means putting millions of your own money at risk, signing personal guarantees, putting your home and all your other personal assets at risk, and just wait until it's time to discuss that one with your spouse. You'll be negotiating against seasoned professionals and learning through costly trial and error. PIBA Gold is a game changer. Instead of years of climbing a mountain alone, putting everything you own on the line, you take a helicopter to the summit with us. You skip the grind and the risk and step directly into ownership with our team handling the terrain. And because we want you to have every advantage, PIBA Gold comes with bonuses that make success virtually inevitable. First, you receive access to NDFC's 55-year playbook, not because you need to do what we do, that's our job, but because informed collaborators make for better brainstorming and stronger outcomes. You don't have to use it, but it's there for you if you want deeper insight. Second, you get a personal deal structuring team, professionals negotiating, financing, and closing acquisitions on your behalf. Third, you plug in to our cross-marketing ecosystem, where your company doesn't just stand alone, but grows faster by linking arms with our other businesses. And finally, you become part of an exclusive community of PIBA Gold collaborators, individuals like you, scaling wealth alongside us. These aren't nice to haves. These are wealth multipliers, and they're only available through PIBA Gold. Now let's talk about risk, because this is where most people hesitate. With PIBA Gold, you don't put millions of your own dollars at stake. You don't gamble your savings. And unlike any other acquisition model, you don't even sign a personal guarantee. Our structures are designed to protect you. NDFC invests alongside you in every deal. We're not consultants who get paid whether you win or lose. We're co-owners. The only way we win is if you win. And here's our ironclad commitment. While our expectation is to acquire your business within 2 years, if we haven't acquired a qualifying company for you within 3 years, we refund your entire commitment fee. Your downside is limited. Your protection is maximized. And your upside is virtually unlimited. And you have 55 years of experience protecting your path. And here's something you need to understand. PIBA Gold isn't open to everyone. We're collaborators and co-owners. That means we share equity, we share outcomes, and our success is linked. Because of that, we are selective. We only work with individuals who meet our qualifications and who we believe will be successful in this program. And even among those who qualify, we can only take on a limited number of co-owners at a time, because each acquisition requires deep, hands-on involvement from our team. So yes, this is an if you qualify opportunity. If you're selected, it can change your financial destiny. If not, at the very least, the knowledge you have gained here today should leave you better equipped to succeed on your own. And timing matters. Every month that passes, competitors, private equity, and strategic buyers are acquiring the very companies that could have been yours. Those opportunities don't wait. And remember, NDFC is the only organization offering this today. It is the first and only business acquisition platform. We've been perfecting strategic aggregation for 55 years. We are the pioneer that proved the model. A year or two from now, sure, like anything successful, there may be copycats, but they'll be years behind, struggling to figure it out, making mistakes along the way, and you don't want to be one of them. Right now, there is no other place you can go to do this. Not today, not anytime soon. If you want to own a thriving mid-market company, the door is open now. Finally, let's talk about your commitment fee. Our minimum acquisition is a company worth at least $15 million with $3 million in annual cash flow. For that, the minimum commitment fee is $250K, and it scales upward depending on the size of the company you want to acquire. Some people flinch at that number, but let me put it in perspective. $250,000 is less than the cost of a top university education, and a degree may not equip you to make a dime. PIBA Gold is different. Your commitment fee secures your seat at the table. It funds the process that leads to your ownership of a thriving, cash-flowing company. And here's how confident we are. Our expectation is to complete your acquisition within 2 years. But if for any reason we don't acquire a qualifying company for you within 3 years, we will refund your entire commitment fee. Colleges don't do that. You pay your tuition, and then you're on your own. So that's our guarantee. That's our confidence in our system. That's how seriously we take your success. At the very beginning, I promised you an offer that was rare, unusual, and life-changing. Now you've seen it. I've kept my word. The only question is, are you ready to take the next step? If you believe this is for you, if you're serious about breaking free of the middle class and stepping into ownership of a mid-market company, then reach out to us today. You'll see our contact information right here on the screen. Schedule a confidential conversation with our team. We'll review your goals, answer your questions, and determine if you qualify for partnership. And if you do, your journey to business ownership and to massive cash flow, unprecedented growth, and true generational wealth starts now. I'd like to thank you for your time and interest in NDFC and our PIBA Gold Done for You business acquisition system. Hopefully, this is the start of an extraordinarily profitable journey, one that not only transforms your financial future, but creates lasting wealth for you, your family, and your legacy. Let's make magic together. Now, before I let you go, let me step out of the presentation and just speak to you directly, person to person, because here's what's true for me. For more than 5 decades, I've guided entrepreneurs through every kind of challenge. I've watched the same story play out again and again. Those who follow the middle-class formula, save, invest, wait, they end up trapped. Those who step into acquisition, into ownership, into strategic aggregation, they create true wealth. But let me share something personal. For as much as I've accomplished in my lifetime, I know I could have achieved even more if I'd been willing to play the game, to politic, to curry favor, to strategically kiss butt. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. That's why I built PIBA Gold the way I did. It's not just about money. It's about creating a pathway where entrepreneurs like you can rise on merit alone, unencumbered by politics or gatekeepers. Ownership without grind, success without compromise. Right now, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path is the hamster wheel. The other is PIBA Gold, massive cash flow, unprecedented growth, and true generational wealth. My promise was to show you something rare, unusual, and life-changing. I've kept my promise. Now it's your turn to act, because this decision won't just change your financial life. It can rewrite your family story for generations.